Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and we're back on with the Decca RG-150. This is going to be the final part of the Decca RG-150 restoration. I haven't shown doing this. I've just lubed the deck up and got the deck running absolutely perfectly. The deck is running as nice as possible now. You've seen me service these decks before. And to be honest, if you really want to see someone really doing a really good job on one of these BSR decks, go over and have a look at Andy over on Vintage Electronics Repair. I'll stick a link down in the description for his channel. He's done a few rebuilds on the old BSR decks, and rather than watch me do it, go over onto his channel, subscribe over onto his channel and watch him do some of these old BSR record decks. Because he does a really good job on them. But anyway, I've serviced the deck. I've fitted a new stylus to it. I've got it all connected up to the chassis. We've got all the nice rebuilt chassis here, running greatly. I've just still got it connected up to my little crappy test speaker. I thought we'd just run. I've got 5 of my test records on here at the moment. So I thought what we'd do is we'd just run it through, make sure it all cycles properly. I'm not going to play all the records all the way through. I'll just cycle them just so you can see it all in operation. And then we'll get all this back into the cabinet, and I'll show you one final look over it all in its cabinet. The cabinet has had its top refinished. It's all been cleaned up, so you'll get to see the whole Decca radiogram back to its absolute former 1962 glory. So anyway, let's spin a few discs. And this is running on my little crappy test speaker, so it won't sound as good as it will when it's actually back in the cabinet. That seems to be playing nicely. See if it'll change okay. You will be getting a little bit more rumble than normally here. Simply the fact I'm not using suspension on the deck. I've literally got the deck just propped up on some old cassette placers. You'll hear the difference when we actually get back into the cabinet. It will sound even better than it does now.
Good evening. Here is the 6 o'clock stonk.
There's a brand new craze. You see it going on where the music plays. It's funky and it's funky and it's impolite. You can do it by day, but it's better at night. S-T-O-N-K. That's on to the rhythm of the honky tonk.
I'm just going to put this one right at the end of the record so we can listen to the actually shut off. Now hopefully it should auto shut off. Get to the end of the record, lift, it knows there's no more records, and it turns itself off. So that's working absolutely perfectly now. It was alright before. I mean, like I say, I have worked on this deck in the past when the lady first bought the unit, and this deck was basically almost completely seized up, and we did give it a good service then. So fortunately, what it did mean this time round, I had none of that horrible hardened BSR grease to deal with, because I'd already dealt with that. It was just a case of just going over it, adding a little bit more lubricant, because it has had a fair bit of use by the look of it. Which is good. I really like it when these old things actually get used and they don't just get sat on display and never get switched on, or just get switched on for 5 minutes to show someone, look, it really does work. These things were meant to be used, and this one actually has had some nice use to it, which I really, really like. Anyway, we'll get that locked off, and we'll switch off like that. The other thing I've done is I've made this cable up because I've modified what used to be a tape recorder input on the chassis here. Let's just we'll just disconnect the deck. This will have to be disconnected to get all this back down to where the cabinet is, and we'll disconnect it from here as well. Let's unplug that. Unplug that. Disconnect that like that. And just slide this to the back of the workbench, and I'll show you what I've done with the chassis. Ooh. This is because you've seen this before, how we have recapped the chassis. Let's just swing you over onto it like that. But what I've done is here, basically we had a input for a tape recorder. So you could plug a tape recorder and switch it to gram and play it through the radiogram. And what they wanted to be able to do is use the deck with an external device. It's a modern device which allows them to play. I think it uses Bluetooth or wireless or something, and allows them to have multiple speakers in every room and play music through it. It has obviously it has a line input. So I've converted the input to this to an output and made them a cable up. So basically what they can do is this will plug into the back of the unit like that, and this will go into the new unit and allow them to play from the turntable through their modern system. So that's all made up and ready to go. So join me back in a second, and we will have this back in its cabinet, and you can have a final listen to it and a final look round of it, all set up in its cabinet before it goes back to its rightful owner. So back in a tick. Okay, and here we are with it all finished and all back in its cabinet. And I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of this working now. Now it's all serviced and working properly. So if we open the cabinet up, you can see we've given all the front panel a good clean. We've got all the knobs back on. We'll switch on. You can see both dial lights are working, everything's working in there. We're tuned to medium wave at the moment. So once it's warmed up, we'll have a quick scan over the long wave and medium wave dials, and then I think we'll play a record on it. There we go. I think that's key 2, one of my local oldies stations.
Losing another plane.
Lovely sensitive radio in it.
If you Pochettino, he's saying to the ball.
They call it their catastrophe, when more than 700,000 people fled or were forced to leave their homes.
As the men who make it up.
It's Radio 4.
That you gentlemen will review without passion the evidence you have heard.
See if we can pick anything.
And the Irish Red Cross is looking for more people to pledge accommodation today.
Yeah.
Pure empty space
We even picks up RTE Radio 1. Like I said, this is an Irish station on long wave.
.ie/pledge. This is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
So it's a really nice, considering like I said, this was one of the cheaper Decca products for 1962. If it would have been one of the more high-end Decca products, it would have had VHF on the radio and it would have been stereo. This is mono and it's AM only. But even so, very nice sensitive radio, really well designed from a technical point of view. Really well designed. The cabinet's nice. It's cheap, it's chipboard with a very, very, very thin veneer on it, but it is still in good. Well, it's testament that it's actually lasted like this, that it's still decent. And the doors still work nicely. Everything on it is really good. We'll turn over onto Gram. Now it does have a little bit of hum on Gram. That is nothing wrong with the actual unit, it's purely down to the fact that it is basic, it is quite a simple circuit. When things are playing on it though, you really don't hear that at all. It sounds great playing a record, it really does. I've done the modification that the chap asked for, so he can actually use the turntable. You can actually, I'll just show you this, I'll just demonstrate this. You can actually now, you can turn the radio off. Providing it's plugged in with his line output cable that I've made for him, the deck still operates. So you're not burning up your valves if you just want to use the turntable and its line out feature for the actual, for what you want. So I think that's quite a nice little feature of it, that you can actually just use the turntable with the line out now and use it to play on the other systems in his house. Anyway, we'll switch it back on. And what we will do is we will. This is the record that I played a little bit of before when I first showed this thing working. Like I said, it had a broken stylus on it, so we only played a few seconds of this record just to show it was working using the 78 stylus. Now we've got a proper 45p, sorry, a standard micro groove stylus in it for 45 and 33 RPM. And I've played them records before. I'm probably already going to be hit with a copyright strike, so sod it. I'm going to play this record through as a final thing, just so you can see what this thing actually sounds like, and we can play a full record through on it. So we lift the old arm, stick the record on, slide that on like that. So make sure we're set to 45. We'll release the arm, and
what's your name?
Dredd.
Not Judge Dredd.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I've always wanted to meet you.
Oh, really? Why?
Oh, I'm a really big fan of yours.
That's very nice of you to say that.
Is it true?
Is what true?
What they say about Big Nine?
Well, I think you'd better have a look for yourself.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Come on, Dredd, get them off.
No, what do you take me for?
Come on, don't be shy.
Easy.
Now, doesn't that feel better?
Oh, yes. Those bloody boots were killing me.
Here, look at this.
Oh, my God. I don't believe it.
Oh, come on, touch it.
You must be bloody joking. You're not even a proper woman. You're a geezer dressed up. You're one of those what do they call them, transvestites?
Oh, come on, dear, this is 1975.
I don't know. Every time I come out, every bloody time, it always ends up in sillies.
Come home and give me love, please.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you bloody love. I'll give you the rough end of a pineapple. Go on. Oh. Shut in there back with ya.